And just before we go to that, to make sense of what is going on in these sessions in the next half hour or so, we've got a guest with us here in Antalya, Professor Dr. Ahmet Uysal from the Istanbul University's International Relations Department. First of all, to talk about Sergei Lavrov and about what we can expect from him. Obviously, I think there'll be a lot of interest to see what the current state of the negotiations are with the United States over some kind of peace deal in the Ukraine. What do you think we're likely to hear from him today?
Yes, Russia, of course, has a new momentum going on with the Ukraine war, but they were also, kicked out, or they lost in Syria. They, of course, as a global power, or different roles in the Middle East, have also special relations with Turkey, Turkish-Russian relations, Turkey's relations with the West. Everything is on the table right now, and they're going to discuss this. How, especially with this panel, how Russia sees the world. We will listen to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, how they see it, and this is going to be a significant contribution also. A lot of interest would be paid to his speech, and of course Syria is going to be a major issue. Energy, diplomacy. Russia is a main supplier of natural gas and some oil to the global market. How are the relations gonna be with? They might even meet the, Syrian delegation here to discuss the future of Syria, or the role of Russia in Syria and in the Middle East overall, and everything. I think a lot of changing going on. So we'll see, the outcome maybe soon of these discussions.
Sir, you talk about a lot of momentum, particularly with the U.S.'s direct engagement with Russia these days. Do you see it as momentum, or is it a smoke and mirrors? Can we expect real fruits of the negotiations that have been going on, and perhaps an end to this conflict?
Yes, Turkey is mediating the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and we have good relations with both sides. And I think they just met a couple of days ago in Turkey. And I think also Trump is entering this debate with Ukraine, pressuring the Ukrainians. Also, maybe sometime backfire. You don't want to weaken your ally like Zelensky or Ukraine. Maybe overplaying your hand. Maybe we'll see outcome. I think Russia also sees this is an opportunity, kind of a fraction or kind of a rupture in the Western camp that support Ukraine, and maybe try to change the ground, the situation on the ground. And it is volatile, but it's always diplomacy matters in relation to the situation on the ground, and everything is discussable. So Turkey is mediating. I think the security aspect was more obvious in the Turkish discussion or negotiations. Of course, there is diplomatic side, economic side, and maybe also Trump may visit Turkey in the coming weeks, or
as part of his
as part of his foreign tour, and many things to talk about. And this Antalya Diplomacy Forum is a big platform to bring all these diplomats together, all the experts together. So I think we'll see some concrete outcomes, concrete results of these negotiations.
You mentioned Syria as well. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a phone call between the Turkish president and Vladimir Putin as well, talking about potentially working together to bring stability to the country,
yes.
Reconstruction efforts, that kind of thing. Do you think there's a potential for cooperation here, for a deal to be made, even though Russia was obviously a key supporter of Bashar al-Assad in the past?
Yes, true. But we, as Turkey, we want to balance between the East and West. We don't want to lean on to one side so that the other side targets you. We don't want that. We want, we of course we advise them. They have their own agenda, their own relationship as Syria, new Syrian government. But we think, it's better to balance between the different powers, not to take side. Also, extradite Bashar al-Assad to maybe his war criminals and human rights violations, and a lot of debates going on. And I think there'll be like more balancing between both sides, and Russia still is important in many calculations. I think with Trump will be, also will be a valid or important actor in the region, also in the global scale. And Syria, of course, they lost a major ally in Syria with Assad's removal, and they try to come back in some, but of course it's going to be a different format, and they have to now communicate with the new government, with also address the Syrians' concerns more than before. It is a different dynamics, I think. Syria is an international arena for, everybody has a stake in related to the Palestine issue, Israel attacking Iran, Europeans, Turkey, and Russia. It's going to be a middle solution is always the best to find a win-win solution, not to have a zero-sum game. I win and you lose, and this is sometimes backfires. And of course, Syria needs a huge investment to recover. A lot of refugees spread around the world. They want to come back to their homeland, and rebuilding. Also, even like building a democratic society with human rights, plural society. It's a big file, Syria. We need support from all sides, not to sabotage the process. I think they started. If we just, a couple of more words on Syria, they started very well, like with the international recognition and relieving some of the sanctions against the Syrian government. We need more. We need. Of course, the economy is collapsed. The destruction of the infrastructure is huge. So we need more support from the neighbors, Turkey, Arab countries like Gulf countries. Europeans, Americans, etc. Even Russia maybe can contribute some. They were part of the destruction. They should be also part of the reconstruction, maybe.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you so much for joining us and for your expertise. We do